Hello friends, welcome back to 30 Minutes Book Summaries. Today we're talking about a book that was written over 100 years ago. But I promise you, it will feel like it was written specifically for you, today, in 2026. The book is How to Live on 24 Hours a Day by Arnold Bennett. And the central idea is so simple, it's almost uncomfortable. Everyone on this planet gets the same 24 hours. The richest CEO, the most powerful prime minister. You, me, not 1 minute more, not 1 second less. So why do some people build incredible lives with those 24 hours, while others reach the end of the day feeling like nothing happened? That's exactly what this book answers. Let's get into it. Part 1. The Value of Time. You're richer than you think. Here's something Bennett says right at the start that stops you cold. You cannot buy more time. You cannot save it up. You cannot borrow it from someone else. Once it's gone forever. Think about that for a second. A billionaire with every luxury in the world cannot buy back a single hour they wasted yesterday. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Time treats everyone exactly the same. And yet we treat time like it's our most abundant resource. We say, I don't have time, but what we really mean is I haven't decided to use my time for this. Bennett makes a comparison that hits really hard. He says, imagine someone handed you rupees 86,400 every single morning. But there's one condition. Whatever you don't use by midnight disappears forever. You can't carry it over. You can't save it. Would you let even a single rupee go to waste? Of course not. Use every bit of it intentionally. Here's the thing. Every single day, you receive 86,400 seconds. And every night, whatever you didn't use, vanishes forever. So why are we so careful with money and so careless with time? Bennett says it's because time is invisible. It doesn't sit in your wallet. It doesn't show up on a bank statement. So we take it for granted, until one day we look up and wonder where the years went. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Most people who feel stuck in life, people who feel like they haven't achieved what they wanted, they often blame luck, or opportunity, or circumstances. But Bennett says the real reason is simpler and more honest than that. They never learned to use their time wisely. He says if you invest even 1 or 2 hours every single day into your own growth, reading, learning, thinking, developing a skill, slowly and steadily you will become the person you always wanted to be, not through some overnight miracle, through the quiet, consistent power of daily time investment. And the best part? This isn't complicated. You don't need a perfect schedule. You don't need a productivity app. You just need one decision. To become conscious of where your time is actually going. Bennett puts it perfectly. Ask yourself honestly every day, am I spending my time where I should be? If the answer is yes, you're on the right track. If the answer is no, that question alone can change everything. Because here's the truth that Bennett wants us to internalize. You are what you do with your 24 hours. Not what you plan to do, not what you wish you were doing. What you actually do with each day, that's who you are. And that's either the most terrifying thing you've heard today, or the most liberating. Because it means your life isn't shaped by luck or circumstances. It's shaped by you, every single day. Part 2, The Great Sin. Wasting time without even noticing. Bennett calls it the great sin. Not lying, not cheating, not stealing. Wasting time, without guilt, without awareness, without even realizing you're doing it. Now before you think, I don't waste that much time, let's be honest with each other for a minute. How many mornings do you pick up your phone before you've even properly woken up? How many evenings do you sit in front of the TV for an hour? Not because you chose to watch something, but just because it was there and you were tired. How many lunch breaks or tea breaks drift into 40 minutes of gossip or random scrolling that leaves you feeling nothing? Bennett says these habits look harmless. They feel harmless. That's exactly what makes them dangerous. Because they're silent. They don't announce themselves. They just quietly eat your day, one small chunk at a time. Let's do the math. If you spend just 2 hours a day on activities that add zero value to your life, that's 14 hours a week. That's 730 hours a year. 730 hours. That's enough to learn a new language, write a book, get a professional certification, build a side business, transform your health completely. And yet, most of us reach December and wonder why the year felt empty. This is why. But here's what makes Bennett's observation really sharp. He doesn't just identify the problem. He identifies something deeper. He says modern people don't just waste time. They've stopped feeling guilty about it. Wasting time has become normalized, accepted, even celebrated. We call it self-care or unwinding, when really most of the time it's just unconscious habit running on autopilot. We tell ourselves, just a little time pass, what's the harm? And Bennett answers directly, there is enormous harm, because every minute you waste is a small piece of your future that you're choosing to leave empty. Your goals, your dreams, your potential, all of them require time, the exact same time you're handing over to things that give nothing back. Bennett also makes this powerful comparison. When you lose money, you feel it immediately. You're upset. You want it back. You're more careful next time. But when you lose time, nothing. No alarm goes off. No pain. Because somewhere in the back of your mind you tell yourself, I'll make up for it tomorrow. But time doesn't work like that. The hour that passed without purpose is gone permanently. There is no tomorrow version of today. So what do you do about it? Bennett's first step is beautifully simple. Awareness. You cannot fix what you cannot see. So start by spending 10 to 15 minutes at the end of each day just asking yourself, where did my time actually go today? Which moments were meaningful? Which moments were just habit? Was that hour of scrolling a real choice? Or was it just what happened when I picked up my phone? That's it. Just that level of honest observation begins to change everything. Because Bennett isn't asking you to become a productivity robot. He isn't telling you to work every waking hour. He isn't against rest or fun or relaxation. He's asking for one thing: consciousness. Do things on purpose. Rest on purpose. Laugh on purpose. Connect on purpose. The moment you do things intentionally, even simple things like a walk, a conversation, listening to music, they become rich and satisfying. The moment you do things unconsciously, out of habit, out of boredom, out of autopilot, they leave you feeling hollow. And that hollow feeling, that quiet emptiness so many people carry around, that's what years of unconscious time spending feels like. Bennett gives us a gentle but firm warning. If you don't stop these time-wasting habits now, you will eventually sit with nothing but regret. And regret is the heaviest burden a person can carry. But he also gives us hope. He says you don't need a dramatic transformation. You don't need to reinvent yourself overnight. You just need to reclaim one small piece of your day and use it intentionally. 30 minutes. That's all he asks to start. Because as Bennett says, greatness isn't built in a single day. It's built in the small decisions you make every single day. And the quality of those decisions depends entirely on how you treat your time. Part 3. Reclaiming 90 minutes, the hidden gold in your day. Here's where Bennett gets wonderfully practical. And here's the part that might surprise you. He's not asking you to quit your job. He's not asking you to wake up at 4 a.m. He's not asking you to sacrifice your family, your sleep, or your social life. He's asking for something so reasonable. It almost sounds too simple. Reclaim 90 minutes a day. Just 90 minutes. And use them only for yourself. That's it. Now your first reaction might be, but I'm already exhausted. When am I supposed to find 90 minutes? And Bennett smiles at this objection. He says those 90 minutes already exist in your day. They're just hiding in plain sight. Think about your evenings. You've come home from work, you've eaten, you're sitting down, and then what happens? For most people, the TV goes on, the phone comes out, the next hour and a half disappears into scrolling, random shows, and conversations that leave no impression. Bennett says do an honest audit of your evening. Not a judgmental one, just an honest one. Look at how you're actually spending those hours between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. and ask yourself, is this genuinely making me happy, or am I just doing it because it's easier than deciding what else to do? If the answer is the second one, those are your 90 minutes. They were always there, you just hadn't claimed them yet. Now what do you do with those 90 minutes? Bennett is very clear. This isn't time for entertainment. It isn't time to scroll a different app or watch something slightly more educational. This is your personal growth time. your private investment in yourself. He calls it your secret time, a sacred space where you step away from every external demand and focus entirely on becoming a better, deeper, more capable version of yourself. What could that look like? You could read, not headlines, not social media, but a real book, a novel, a philosophy text, something that makes you think differently. You could write, a journal where you process your thoughts, set intentions, reflect on what you're learning and experiencing. You could learn, an online course, a new skill, a language, a craft, something that stretches your capability. You could think, just sit quietly and reflect on your goals, on your values, on what kind of person you want to be, and what choices that requires. Most people hear this and think, that sounds nice but also a bit boring. And Bennett completely understands that reaction. Because our minds have been trained by years of passive consumption to find depth uncomfortable and distraction comfortable. But here's the beautiful thing. The more you practice using this time intentionally, the more satisfying it becomes. You start to feel a deep sense of progress, of direction, of meaning. And that feeling, that quiet confidence that comes from knowing you invested in yourself today, you cannot buy that anywhere. No app delivers it. No entertainment provides it. It only comes from doing the work, consistently, day after day. Bennett does the math for us. If you spend 90 minutes every day on your own development, that's 550 hours a year invested in becoming better. 550 hours. Think about what a skilled coach or mentor could do with 550 hours of your attention. Now imagine giving those hours to yourself, your own mind, your own growth, your own potential. That's not a small thing. That's a life-changing thing. And it starts with one simple decision tonight. Which 90 minutes are mine, and what am I going to do with them? Protect that time like an appointment you cannot cancel, like a commitment you made to the most important person in your life. Part 4. Mental training, reading, thinking, and writing. Now Bennett gets into something that most productivity advice completely skips. He says even if you reclaim your 90 minutes, there's one more thing you need. A trained mind. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. You can clear 90 minutes every evening. You can sit down with the best intentions. But if your mind has been running on autopilot and passive consumption for years, it won't suddenly know what to do with focus and silence. It will fidget. It will wander. It will reach for distraction. Bennett says our minds are like muscles, and most of us have been leaving ours completely untrained. We take care of our bodies, gym, yoga, walking, nutrition, but when it comes to our minds, we let them absorb whatever happens to be in front of them. News feeds, random videos, gossip, noise. And then we wonder why we feel mentally foggy, easily distracted, and unable to concentrate on anything important for more than a few minutes. The solution? Bennett gives us 3 tools. They're not expensive. They're not complicated. Anyone can use them starting today. Tool 1. Reading. Not scrolling, not headlines, not random content. Deep, intentional reading. Bennett says when you read a great book, a biography, a novel, a work of philosophy, something remarkable happens. You enter a mind that is not yours. You encounter ideas that challenge your assumptions. You see the world through a perspective you've never occupied before. This makes your own mind more flexible, more creative, and more capable of depth. But here's his important distinction. Reading random news and social media content all day doesn't train your mind. It actually does the opposite. It trains your mind to be shallow, to jump from thing to thing, to be constantly reactive. The kind of reading that builds mental strength is focused, sustained, and deliberate. Bennett recommends at least 30 minutes of deep reading every day. Phone silent, notifications off, full attention on the page. Not 30 minutes of half reading while the TV plays in the background. 30 minutes of actual reading. You and the book, nothing else. Tool 2. Thinking. Now this one surprises people. I think all day. What's special about that? Here's the difference. Most of what we call thinking is actually just mental noise. Random worries, half-formed reactions, circular concerns that don't lead anywhere. Conscious, intentional thinking is something completely different. It means choosing a specific question or idea and actually sitting with it. examining it from multiple angles, challenging your initial assumptions, arriving somewhere new. Bennett says this is one of the rarest and most valuable skills a person can develop, and almost no one practices it deliberately. Here's a simple example. Say you read something about discipline. Instead of just moving on, pause. Ask yourself, am I actually disciplined? In which areas of my life? Where do I give in too easily? Does discipline truly create freedom, or does it just create pressure? These questions don't have quick answers. And that's the point. The act of holding a question in your mind, of resisting the urge to move on immediately, is itself a form of mental training. You can do this during a walk. In those quiet minutes before sleep, 10 minutes of real thinking every day will change how you see the world over time. Tool 3. Writing. Bennett calls this the most powerful mental training tool of all three. And here's why. Writing is a mirror. When your thoughts live only inside your head, they're vague. They swirl, they feel big and complicated and impossible to untangle. The moment you put them on paper, something remarkable happens. You can suddenly see them, and when you see them you can evaluate them, organize them, challenge them, improve them. Bennett says writing is how you convert internal confusion into external clarity. And again, this doesn't mean you need to become a writer, or start a blog or publish anything. It just means keeping a simple journal where you write for 10 minutes a day. What did I learn today? What am I worried about? And is that worry actually rational? What do I want my life to look like in 5 years? What's one thing I can do differently tomorrow? These kinds of reflections, written honestly and regularly, will do more for your mental clarity than almost anything else you can do. Bennett puts his 3 tools together like this. Read to expand your mind. Think to deepen your mind. Write to clarify your mind. Do all 3 consistently, even for just 30 to 40 minutes a day combined, and within months, you will feel fundamentally different. More focused, more confident, more clear about who you are and where you're going. He says the person who trains their mind daily is years ahead of everyone else, regardless of their background, their education, or their circumstances. And what I love most about this idea is that there's no external dependency. You don't need money, you don't need connections, you don't need permission from anyone. You just need a book, a pen, and a quiet 30 minutes. Part 5. The Power of Routine. Small steps, massive change. The final piece of Bennett's philosophy is perhaps the most grounding of all. After everything he said about time, awareness, reclaiming your hours, and training your mind, he brings it all back to something beautifully unglamorous: routine. Not a dramatic life overhaul, not a 5 a.m. miracle morning, not a complete reinvention of who you are. Just a small, consistent, daily routine. Bennett says, you don't need to change everything. You just need to change one small part of your day, and protect it. Here's the specific suggestion he makes. Start with just 30 minutes. Every day, same time, same place, same intention. That's your anchor. That's where the transformation begins. Why does routine work so powerfully? Because it removes the daily negotiation with yourself. When something is a routine, you don't debate it. You don't wait until you feel motivated. You don't postpone it for when conditions are perfect. You just do it, like brushing your teeth, like eating breakfast. And over time, that routine becomes your identity. Bennett describes it as building mental stability in a world that is constantly pulling you in 100 different directions. When you have one fixed point in your day that belongs entirely to you, it grounds you. It reminds you that your life has direction, that you are in charge. He also addresses the most common pushback directly. But I have kids, I have responsibilities, my evenings are never actually free. Bennett's response: he's not asking you to be perfect. He's not asking you to isolate yourself from your family. He's asking you to protect 30 minutes. With planning, with communication, with commitment. And here's something profound he observes. When you consistently invest in your own growth, you become more patient, more present, more fulfilled as a person. And that version of you shows up better for your family, your work, your relationships. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's the foundation from which you take care of everything else. Bennett also says something that cuts through a very common excuse. I'll focus on personal growth when I retire, when the kids are older, when things slow down. And his answer is firm but kind. Growth is not something you postpone. It's something you practice every day. The learning you delay is the person you never become. Start now. Start small. Start with 30 minutes. Because here's what those 30 minutes will eventually give you. Mental clarity that helps you make better decisions. A quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're invested in yourself. A sense of direction that makes even ordinary days feel meaningful. And a deep, steady satisfaction that no amount of passive entertainment can replicate. Bennett's philosophy isn't about hustle. It's not about grinding 24/7. It's not about being busy every second. It's about being conscious. Conscious of where your time goes. Conscious of what you're feeding your mind. Conscious of who you're becoming with each day that passes. He ends with an idea so simple and so true that it's worth reading twice. You cannot add time to your day. You can only use what you have better. And when you start using what you have better, life doesn't just become more productive. It becomes more alive, more yours. So friends, that was our summary of How to Live on 24 Hours a Day by Arnold Bennett. Here's what the book is really saying. You are not short on time. You are short on intention. The 4 lessons to take away today. 1. Time is the great equalizer. Everyone gets 24 hours. What separates people is what they do with them. 2. Wasting time unconsciously is the silent thief of your potential. Awareness is the first step to stopping it. 3. Reclaim 90 minutes a day. That's your secret time. Protect it. Use it only for yourself. 4. Train your mind daily through reading, thinking, and writing. Start with just 30 minutes and build from there. You don't need to change your whole life today. Just change 1 hour and protect it like it matters. Because it does. Which of these 4 lessons are you going to apply first? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely want to know. If this summary made you think differently about your time, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a summary on 30 Minutes Book Summaries.